In 1070, 4 years after the Normans won at Hastings, the church sent a man to England with a bill. Not for the losers, for the winners. 1 year of penance for every man you killed. So, did knights have post-traumatic stress? The honest answer is that the word didn't exist until 1980, so technically no. But that's a boring answer, and the question isn't really whether they had our word for it, it's whether they knew. Let's start with a guy who was there. Geoffrey du Charny was a French knight. Not a legend, not a character in a poem. A real man who carried the sacred banner of France and died holding it at Poitiers in 1356. Before that, he wrote a book about knighthood. And if you're expecting a recruitment poster, you're going to be disappointed. Charny describes the life. You're always hungry, you sleep badly, or you don't sleep at all. You're never off duty. You're never able to relax. Your friends die in front of you and you keep going, because stopping isn't an option. And then he says something that should stop you. He warns other knights that the danger isn't the battle, it's afterwards. The moment you finally feel safe. That's when the terrors come for you. That's a man describing something he has no name for. He just knows it happens. And he knows it happens to everyone because he's writing it down as advice. Okay? One night, one book. Proves nothing. Except medieval Europe had a story it told over and over and over. A knight. A great one. The best in the world. Loses his mind, tears off his armor, runs into the forest, lives out there like an animal, naked, eating whatever he can find, unrecognizable to anyone who knew him. And eventually somebody finds him. And he comes back. Yvain does it, Lancelot does it, Tristan does it. It happens so often, it's basically a genre requirement. Now think about who these stories were for. Knights. And the beat that kept showing up, the one they kept paying to hear, was the greatest warrior alive, coming apart and running into the woods. But here's where I have to be straight with you. In the stories, it's never the war. Yvain goes mad because his wife is angry with him. Lancelot goes mad over Guinevere, it's always love or shame or a broken promise. Never the fighting. So this isn't proof that medieval people understood combat trauma. It's something stranger. They had a ready-made story about a warrior's mind breaking. They just filed it under the wrong cause. They knew the shape of it. They didn't know what did it, except in one place, where somebody wrote it all down. October 1066. Hastings. The Normans win. 4 years later, a man named Ermenfrid, Bishop of Sion, arrives in England as the Pope's legate, sits down with the Norman bishops and issues a document. It is a price list. If you know you killed a man in the battle, 1 year of penance, per man. If you wounded someone and you're not sure whether he died, 40 days. For each man you can remember, which raises the obvious question of what happens to the ones you can't. If you never actually hit anybody, but you wanted to, 3 days. Wanting to counts. Archers get their own claws. An archer fires into a crowd and has no idea what he hit, so he can't possibly count. Archers get a flat rate, 3 lents. About 120 days, for the crime of not being able to do the arithmetic. And if you're a knight who simply cannot work out the number, too many, too fast, too long ago, then your bishop has options. You can do penance 1 day a week for the rest of your life. Or you can build a church. Some of them built the church. Now I want you to notice something. Every single man this applied to was on the winning side. This isn't punishment for losing. It isn't a war crimes tribunal. The Normans believed God was on their side. The Pope had blessed the invasion. They won. And the church handed them a bill anyway. There's a Victorian historian who did the math on this and decided the whole document had to be a forgery. Because William the Conqueror was supposed to have killed around 2,000 men at Hastings. And by these rules, that's 2,000 years of penance. He was probably wrong about the forgery. He was not wrong about the number. Sit with that for a second. A system existed which, taken at its word, sentenced the King of England to 2,000 years. William did not do 2,000 years. He built an abbey instead, on the battlefield, with the altar placed on the exact spot where Harold died. Let's be careful here, because this is where it's easy to overclaim. This was not therapy. Nobody in 1070 thought penance was mental health care. Ermenfrid was not a psychiatrist. This is a system for managing sin, run by an institution with its own interests, and plenty of those interests were about power and land and money. But look at what they actually built. A process where every man who came home from a battle sat down with a priest, said out loud what he had done, counted it, and was told it would take years to put right. You don't build that for a problem nobody has. And you don't get Geoffrey writing 300 years later that the terrors come when you finally feel safe, unless there is something for them to come for. So, Did knights have post-traumatic stress? They never had the word. It didn't exist until 1980, but they knew men came home different. They knew it happened to the winners as well as the losers. They knew it needed something. Confession, counting, years of your life, a building. They built an entire system around it.